Okay, this is video 17 and we're solving systems of equations by elimination. Okay, so far we've done graphing and substitution. This is the third way to solve a system. So with this, we have to find or create variables that have opposite coefficients. So for example, we want to, in our two equations, have maybe a negative 3x and a 3x, a 2y and a negative 2y. Something so that when we add our two equations together, we are going to eliminate that variable. So if we're looking at our first example, here I've got a negative 4x and a positive 4x. So that's a variable that has two opposite coefficients, okay? And when we use elimination, we add our two equations together, and hopefully, if we do everything correctly, one variable will eliminate. So when I add negative 4x plus positive 4x, that cancels out, okay? And when I add my negative 2y and my 8y, I get 6y. And when I add negative 12 and negative 24, I get negative 36. And now I can solve, okay? I divide by 6, and y equals negative 6. Okay, now I need to solve for my x variable. Now you can use any equation that you want, first one or second one. I'm going to go ahead and use the first one. Okay, so instead of writing y, I'm going to plug in that negative 6. Okay, and I'm going to try to solve for this. So negative 4x plus 12 equals negative 12. Okay, when I subtract my 12 on both sides, I get negative 4x equals negative 24. And when I divide by 4 on both sides, I get x equals 6. Okay, now remember, I'm not done yet. Write your answer as an ordered pair. Okay, so we've eliminated that one variable so that we could solve for the other. All right, for example number 2. All right, I don't have any variable that's opposite of each other, but I do have one that's at least the same number, okay? My y's are the same number. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply one equation by a negative 1, okay? So if I multiply everything by negative 1, that means my 7 is going to turn negative, my 2y is going to turn negative, and my 24 turns negative. Okay, so we've multiplied everything by a negative 1. So I'm going to put a little times negative 1. Okay, that's what we did there. Okay, now I can go ahead and add my two equations. I'm going to be left with just x. Those are going to cancel out. And negative 24 plus 30 is 6. And look at that, I don't even have to do any work. I found my x variable. All right, for the next one, we've got to plug that into either equation. This time, let's use the second equation. Okay, 8 times 6 plus 2y equals 30. So we've got 48 plus 2y equals 30. And 2y equals negative 18. That's after I subtracted my 48. I'm going to divide by 2. We've got y equals negative 9. Okay, so here my ordered pair would be 6 comma negative 9. Okay, so we took like a really difficult problem, and using elimination, we were able to solve it very easily. Okay, elimination is also when maybe substitution wouldn't work as easily. Okay, you can always do either one of those. It's just one's going to be a lot easier than the other. Remember here when we'd have like an x equals or maybe a y equals. Okay, those are a lot easier for substitution than elimination. Okay. All right, and we've got our last example. And here we've got nothing that looks the same. Okay, and that is our last example. Okay, so let's try to figure out what to do. I do have a 3 and a 9, which I could easily change my 3 into 9. Okay, 7 and 5, that'd be a little bit harder. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change that first equation. Okay, I'm going to multiply everything by -3. And if I do that, it'll change this to a positive 9x, and then we'll have the opposites that we can eliminate. Okay, so I'm going to write my new equation down here at the bottom. So I've got 9x minus 21y equals 48. So now I'm going to add these two equations. My 9's just perfectly are going to cancel out, and then I'm left with negative 16y equals 64. After I divide, we get y equals -4. Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll plug back in our -4 to the, let's go ahead and let's just do the second equation. All right, so we've plugged it into our second equation. Plug that in for our y. We're still trying to find our x. And we get x equals -4. Okay, and we can write our answer as an ordered pair, -4, -4. All right, so this is our third and final way how to solve systems, which is by elimination. And just remember, you have to either find or create those variables that have opposite coefficients. And that's your key to making this work and being successful.